Let's buy Botox. In theory, let's start with how to dilute the drug. Who remembers how to dilute Botox 100? Let's take the ideal, the breeding standard of Botox 100. Botox 100 is 100 units, so it's in a jar. Right away, you have to realize that no matter how much saline you pour in there, in that jar. Who will the saline solution be exchanged with? Saline, yes. No matter how much you pour in there, it won't make the units bigger or smaller. There will be 100 units. There's just going to be stronger breeding. What role does stronger breeding or weaker breeding play? So is there less concentration of a substance or more concentration of a substance? First, you and I will dilute as in training soon, while you are putting your hand to avoid the consequences of negative. But once you have your hand full, you'll feel like the king of Botox or Corolla. Then you'll be able to understand. On concentration. The more concentrated it is, the more pinpointed you will be able to know where to inject it. Not yet. What we do then on the diffusion of 2 centimeters. Diffusion 2 centimeters. Which means you inject a point and underneath it in the skin it spreads. The drug spreads to about 2 centimeters. I'm on point. Meters are spreading. Drug diffusion. Usually. That's the standard. But we all have different people. If we have a young forehead, yes, that's one thing. If it's such flabby muscles, ligaments, skin is down, the fat layer has already moved down there, yes, it starts to go down into the TAs. It's a different situation. Yes. I mean there, on age-appropriate heavily clientele. If we inject at a point, we have to keep in mind that the drug can directly leak right down. That's just to keep your eyes open. There are so many. The most common side effect, the unwanted side effect, is upward drooping eyebrows. That's exactly it, so you understand what it depends on. Not only as I teach you or you learn on the internet or in courses somewhere, but you should also include in your head and realize that each person is unique. Some people are good, and some people are better off not doing that. Better make it a little higher. He may have a worse result there, but at least he won't come to you and complain. In Botox and all injectable cosmetology, it's better to under-inject than over-inject. Especially many clients have the notion that Botox is when your forehead is stone and it doesn't move at all. In order to achieve such an effect, so that the forehead of stone does not move at all, it is necessary to take into account very, very many factors. Its features, and plus it's not the first time. It's going to be about 2, 3, 4 times we're going to have to dope on corrections, see where I think more. It's a very big risk, because if she has a wrinkle moving here, you can't work with Botox here, and she wants to remove them, then you'll have to work very jewelry a little bit higher too. It's really hard to do it right the first time. It has to be done a little bit. And then she'll come in, see how she's standing, and then she'll do it again and a third time. But really, that's how it goes down 3 times. It'll last 4 months, then she'll have to come back. Well, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But if she's paying the money, let her pay the money. It depends. Some people burn it out in 2 months, some people keep it up to 6 months. The client herself, she has very active facial expressions, strong muscles, she does sports, she carries heavy weights, she sweats, she'll get the effect off very quickly. She'll get their muscles working again. And if the girl looks after herself, takes care of herself, tries, does not strain at all, the result is certainly better. And even if she develops this habit of not wrinkling during Botox, it will slowly bleed over this effect into the results of the habit. And it's going to be beautiful. The best part. And in fact, working with Botox, there are a lot of crazy women who come in and wrinkle, wrinkle, wrinkle. Here they're even talking to you, they have wrinkles there, nevertheless, they say, here's calite to me. You didn't inject well. Calite still. And go, and try to have us put a bunch of Botox in there, and she herself continues to work actively. Because it's kind of back and forth, back and forth. There's no point in these procedures. Well, zone by zone, yes, let's see. Upper third face. This is the forehead, the interbrow and the eyes. 3 zones. Forehead, interbrow and eyes. Down. We don't go in, but you practice, you'll get your hand in there because there's a demand. There's a demand. Armpit sweat, palm sweat, feet sweat. We won't have one in practice, but it's done exactly the same way. And they'll give you a very good, I texted it to you. No. I did. From the video. Yeah. Here, there's a really good video. It's just about 10 to 15 minutes long, but you'll understand everything there. It's all laid out there. I can't think of anything more detailed. Here, and in this video tutorial, I've come out to you. Who hasn't come out yet? So we work between the brow, forehead and eyes. The most important rule of thumb. 2 centimeters from the eyebrow. We don't go in. Don't go in. You can't. 20 meters, huh? Yes. Always take a little higher than 2 centimeters. 2.5, 3. It's for your safety. I'd rather have her come in and say, something didn't get up in there than have her come in and say, finished it, something didn't get up. We are here to define these zones. The whole day today was defining. That's why we don't go into that area. Well, a wince. Always wrinkles, prickle, always do that where there's a lot of it. And the most important rule will be to work in staggered order, to try. Because if we have a dot over a dot, a little bit of that will degrade our intended effect. It's better to always spread the dots out like this, order. If one point is here, the other must be to the right or left necessarily. We'll be on point all day today. We have, for example, let's start with the interbrow. There's the wrinkle. See, the wrinkle. And we remember that you can't work on the eyebrow. 2 centimeters. Remember, this is the right thing to do. That's why you can't leave this area right here. The only place you need to work on your interbrow is here. So, there's the wrinkle. Now let's look at how we draw the point, determine where to poke in. There's the wrinkle. And try to draw a circle like this from this wrinkle. And this one. There you have it, the edge of the circle. And you kind of continue it mentally in a circle. We made a circle and determined where its center is. In order to make the interbrows, we're going to finger the bottom of the eyebrow like this. And we'll fix it on top. There you go. In this position. We remember, don't we? We practiced on chicken yesterday. You have a left. Well, in this case, Alexander's. To yourself, change my hands. The left hand is fixing, helping. Either from the side or the top. Either from the side or the top. Not like that, huh? You can't have one hand like this, and you're doing something crooked like this. No. Either that or this. Either that or this. That's it. And you have it all working smoothly. So we did. We've got a muscle coming from the center here to the side. And you need to collect it, and you don't take it out from here, across the fibers, but you need to take it out from here. Picked it up and brought it out differently. Same thing in the other eyebrow. Picked it up and brought it out. So it's not 90 degrees to the face, but it's 45. Well, in order to remove this crease, we do one side, the other side in the center. In the center, it happens that you can put the point a little lower or a little higher. Sometimes, here C, for example, you can put 1C, right here, for example, 1C. And you can break that 3 down into 1 and 2. Like 1 here, 2 here. 1 division, 1 unit will have. It's just to make it softer. Not to cram everything into one point, and there as it goes, and then there in general. No, but so that we have enough for this area and this area. Given the targeting eyes, right? Yes. To make it a little smaller here, here. And if we put 1 point on it, it narrows the circle. So, to soften it up, if the wrinkle is long, it is better to break its point into 2. Next. If we have these rabbit wrinkles on the nose, that's when she wrinkles like that. You know, you can always tell by wrinkles what emotions a person has more of in their life. And these are the ones with the strongest muscles, like fairies. Those who have strong interbrows are the disgruntled ones. I've had models from the IRS come up to me. They all have some kind of noise. I even send you right away what kind of work you do. My tax office. Oh, I hope it's not my fault. Here there phi, here there perpendicular wrinkles. And this is where the wrinkle on the side is made. The side is done. The side of the spout. So, at a 30-degree angle, the papilla. I mean eyes. And this phi is done papillally. When we're not in the muscle we do 90 degrees, but we go in at an angle like this, with the papule. It's like biorevitalization was taught, right? Would 45 degrees be in the muscle? 45 will be here, yes. In the muscle. So it's all muscle. Yes, there's a surface here. Gently, on both sides. This is where you'll do it safely. What's the danger in this area? For pageant plastics, when you start in here. Kayla's, yarns. No, we take very few units here. It's usually 1 unit, or 0.5 if it's very small. No more, of course, we don't bet. You can't get too much in here. Usually 1 unit. We put them one by one. Why do I say well there's a lot of it? That's where we stick it. Here we're looking at the muscles, yeah, there they are. And we pick the thickest part. Here it is, you see, even here it thickens a little bit, so we'll go here, not here. And the fattest, right in it, right here, right in the center. So we're not injecting into a wrinkle, we're injecting right into a muscle. 90 degrees. Some people have strong muscles, you can get the whole needle in. Some people, like our Jolie yesterday, yeah, she's still got the needle. So control your finger. This one of yours is helping you. Injecting, remember practicing on the chicken yesterday, like a dart, yes, injecting, then rearranging the finger. The other hand can help you. Hold the syringe, hold the client, and just like that. Yes, we always ask for a wrinkle during a Botox procedure. Like during counseling, when we're just counting dots on it. Frown. We did. You'd be surprised. The second emotion. Write down to yourself what emotions. We ask to see the client when we put dots on it. The first is to frown. Frown. To look between the eyebrows. Second. You'd be surprised. To see the wrinkles on your forehead. Third. Have a laugh. That is, laugh with your eyes. So we can see the hound's feet around the eyes. Laugh with your eyes. Yeah. And fourth, it's make fly like a foul odor. And we'll see how his bunny wrinkles gather on the bridge of his nose. So that's our core work, that's the indications for Botox. These areas. There's a lot more. Who's doing something else for them? You might get to that point too. Practice will tell. This is what I teach. It's safe. Anything else is at your own risk, your own experience. As you experiment. That's all that's safe. Next, you can use Botox too. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what else you can do with Botox. As Rita said yesterday, it's done on the head to reduce headaches. But that's if you know exactly what's right for you. Because it could be the other way around. Botox can give you a headache. It's to reduce the pain. When we're walking on our heads. There will literally be a few of each. Next, to raise an eyebrow, for example. Here we have an eyebrow. It's better not to do it, because some clear effect we won't see, but the risk of messing something up instead of raising it. Let him be. So it's best not to experiment with this one. But you have to realize that it's basically, well, sort of practiced. So we have muscles in our foreheads. You've got the whole anatomical part, yeah, it's. Video tutorials have it too. Now we're just going to go over it with you a little bit. Those are the muscles, yes, on the corner. There's a triangle here, where these two frontal muscles diverge from the top. Sometimes you can see it on the client when we ask to be surprised, and we see where this triangle right here is so blank. So you don't need to stab it directly into it. You will either a little to the right or a little to the left. It refers to the center of the forehead in general. You draw the center line. And centered is best not to do. It's always best to do slightly left of center or slightly right of center, so that you don't get into this junction of these two muscles. But you'll get caught, it's no big deal. Better yet, hit the muscles themselves. So, eyebrows, huh? To raise the eyebrow, we need this corner of the eyebrow down here. I mean, relax this muscle that goes to the corner. To relax it, you need to enter one unit directly above it. Right above the eyebrow. But far away. Where? Just like that, yeah. Show me the point. That's where the hairy part starts. We added one unit right above the ponytail, so that it would drop down a little bit, and then we'd have more curves visible. It's for rising. Does it also have something to do with whether the forehead is high or not? Yeah, there's low forehead, there's high forehead. You and I are going to go through. You have a low forehead, like this or this. You don't have to change these 3 centimeters in any way. There are times when it's only 3 centimeters of forehead. Then we'll stab the scalp. So it doesn't play a role in any way. If he's got 2 centimeters of forehead, that's what we're going to do here. It's a common mistake, I forget about it. A man comes in with 2 centimeters of lip and does the usual. Now, do you fold like this when you harvest leather? Yes, a little bit. You have to build muscle like we did yesterday on the chicken, remember? Packed and done. The rest is on the lips. Remember we went over that yesterday, too, right? These are the lowering muscles. Corner of the mouth. We can do some pairs here too, to loosen them up. And that's how we got the corner up. What's the constant angle? Here you go. It's right here. In the middle. Yes, uncle. You don't have to ask anymore. Yeah, how did you find out? What are we putting it there for? To relax this muscle and raise the corner of the mouth. In training we will do 1 to 3 units. 1 is the smallest, maybe 0.5, and 3 is the largest. You and your life will then increase to 6. Are they men or are they too powerful? We're going to go through these equal exercises today, too. If someone's hand itches to put 5 or 6 units in there, put them in. Simple. Justify later, when you check this exercise, why you put so many units in it. 5 to 6 units and get a radius of 3 to 2 centimeters increase. More drugs are coming, right? Yes. It's just that if the muscle is strong, it needs more. Human. As we found out at the beginning in different ways. Life, I guess. No. One day, after a day, he is completely out of this life. Then what will be done? Effect. So he's breaking the bond, huh? The connection that neural goes from nerve to muscle. He breaks that bond, and a person can. It can't be that it's Botox gone somewhere, come somewhere else. That can't be it. He's out in 24 hours. The only thing that remains is the effect of Botox. Botox relaxes the mind. Yes, that's how it works. It relaxes her. And fixes. In this position, he's not fixing anything. Already relaxed, and a person just has a nerve impulse stops the muscle flow, and he cannot control it. With muscles, it is on its own, and man, even if he tries, cannot control it. Maximizing the effect is worth what? Maximize the effect. Well, about 6 months. Usually 5 to 14. I've got docs coming in for massages, and I've got a rolling pin here to roll around inside. So on the lips, still when there is, for example, a smile like this, gumshoe. If a person smiles, their gums are very visible. You could do that too, so you could relax here and go down a little bit. 1 at a time, 5 at a time, 1 at a time, 2 at a time. Are there muscles here? Yeah, all muscle, just muscle. It's also done so that this gum doesn't show as much. You can loosen up with the units. Sometimes it happens that they come with a chinch too. Such a chin. There's a perpetually disgruntled man wrinkling his chin. He's pitted, very pitted. There are people like that. They ask you to relax their chin. Yeah, we relax and she keeps walking around with the same face. Here, of course. Fun activity. Here is such a powerful chin, which is straight with dimples already visible, yes, and on it too you can make piecing, a few pokes. Right here. 1, 2, 3. Relax. See where it's needed, where the strongest holes are. Determine the radius so it doesn't go any farther. And to these points. When strong muscles go down the neck, they're relaxed as well. They do it right in the neck. It's dangerous, I think. Well, it's dangerous. Everywhere is dangerous. I think it's super dangerous in general. But then again, is there a point to it? If a person is used to it, it always happens. Vivacious neck. Lively neck, yes. But that's how much Botox to pump, yes, and how much to repeat the procedure afterward. What's the point if a person's lifestyle is such that they always will be? And Botox, well, we'll talk about those later. And the jaws, the lower corners of the jaw, which are too powerful. Here we were yesterday, we enlarge them. But there are people who want to loosen them up and make them smaller. It's the lower corner of the jaw. For example, the Asian type. We've got the Japanese, the Chinese. They have powerful chew muscles. That's what we do to relax in them. For them to go down. To make them relax. And thus became less. Not as brightly colored. So, in terms of the effectiveness of Botox, why can it be that Botox? Ineffective. The real ones will come to you in 5 to 7 days and say, why didn't I get anything? Well, there's no such thing as nothing at all. Always take a before and after picture. I'm taking a picture. Surprise, surprise, we took a picture. Frown, photographed. Squint, laugh, take a picture. You still have those pictures. Because a person might not notice. And the pictures will make it all clear. So again, who's concerned about your safety, so that there are no claims against you, take pictures. Always on the first visit, especially when it's your first time working with a person. You stipulate that it's better not to do it than to redo it. That's why I'm doing it the way I think it should be done, carefully. So you don't have anything to go down. But if you suddenly don't get enough effect, you can finish it. Now that's something that needs to be said. Because some people really think his forehead is going to be so stony. We must explain that we work in soft and natural proportions. After how long can it be repeated? Well, we can do it together in 2. That is, if. And the correction itself in 14 days. If the person is highly dissatisfied, you can add it after 5 to 10 days. Yes, after 5 to 10 days add, if you're not satisfied, that's it, I don't like anything there, I want more, more, exactly. And after 2 months, this is to refresh the result, so to speak. But keep in mind that Botox can be addictive. The more a person smokes, the less the effect can be. Further may come from the fact that some people are more suited to Botox, some more to Disbird, some more to Botulinum, some more to Shaman. There's no way to predict this initially, only by trial and error. But again, I'll say this. If it's her first time on Dysport, she liked it. Her second time on Dysport, she loved it. The third time she had Botox, she didn't like it. She comes to you and tells you the story. You can't conclude that Botox doesn't work for her. You can assume that by the third time, she's already developed an immunity to all this stuff, to this botulinum toxin. And it doesn't even depend on the drug. Botulinum toxin, yes. Botulinum toxin. The procedure is called botulinum therapy. Spending, what's the name of Botox? Botox, say what you will. What else is there? Shaman, Botulinum, which we'll be working with today. Botulinum, yes. Botulinum, twice as cheap as Botox. It's an analog of Botox of Korean origin. How are they different from each other? Nothing. Nothing at all. They have these 5 titles. Question value. The price is about the same. Good. But the clear differences between Botox and Bestport. These are 2 clear competitors who are the market leaders. And in Dysport, we take somewhere around 2 to 3 times as many units as we do in Botox. So it's stronger in Botox. No, they're the same. Why, then? Wait. We will be working today, learning how to benchmark Botox 100 unit cans. You buy a 100 unit jar of Botox, and everything we go over today, you're going to straight up make it perfect. Something else to work on. You will need to turn on one nut, twist it, and think a little. Botulinum, this one, that's what we're working with, is exactly the same as Botox. Only you need to be oriented to what we are learning. Botox 100, for example. We will have Botulinum 200. There's 300, 500, 700 Dysport. That's the main confusion. Everyone. How many units is that? In a jar. They're different. The drug is a different number of units. You have to dilute it with different amounts. But that's by analogy. That is, if we dilute Botox 100 with 2 milliliters, then Botox 200, roughly speaking, we dilute with 4. It's simple. You just have to divide it up a little bit. The more units, the more. Accordingly, if we have 10 units in Botox, on the forehead we inject a person, in Dysport we inject 30 units. That's the gradation that should catch on. Now again, how many units are in a Dysport? See, that's what I'm explaining, the difference between Botox and Dysport. Now that's a clear difference you owe to yourself. What's the higher consumption rate from a Dysport? No, I'll explain it to you now. See, a can of Botox 100 and Dysport 300 are the same thing. Oh, I get it. It's just that even there, they cost about the same. And for the customer, he'll pay the same, like here for 10 units, here for 30. For him, the price is the same. It's just that here unit costs 300 rubles, and here unit costs 100 rubles. That is 3 times less. That is, for a price. The client will also pay. You also pay for the drug. It's just a matter of 10 here, 30 there. So we don't inject 2, we inject 3 times 6. That's if we're working with Dysport. This only applies to Dysport, which is 3 times as many units. Everything you're going to learn today, if you pick up a Dysport, you need to 3 times the units. Remember, you have me and I have WhatsApp. And that's where you can write. Day and night. I turn the sound off at night, so I'll respond as soon as I see it. Shannon, Sion what? Shannon is just like Botox. I mean, there's syrup. Yes, yes. Botox as well. Yes. Everything. Yes. So all you have is confusion. Here, maybe you'll have a port here. Because why do we have to talk about all this? Because you go back to where you live, and there you may have a vendor with just eyes port, and that's it, nothing else. Then you'll need to adjust, remember, and get in tune with dye port. Or it could be that your supplier only has Botox, and it has a favorable price, and it's more profitable for you to work on it. Then we'll get Botox. If you're a bad esthetician, it keeps in the fridge. All one day. This is what I teach you in training. Yes, the discovery of diluted preparations. The powder itself. The powder itself. But it has an expiration date, it's looking there. So it can be transported. Powder, yes. It's not even a powder, it's more of a crystals. Yeah, crystals. So there are no such conditions that it should be stored in the refrigerator. In the refrigerator, yes. It is only stored in the refrigerator, and it is transported in a special container. You and I kept the box in the fridge. It should always be in the refrigerator. And the courier brings it to the refrigerator. Even if he doesn't divorce, just in the usual shut it down. Yes. And now, of course, it's better to move it to the window. At this point in our conversation, will you put it on, Masha? And on a micropedal. Here, it's back to why it may be ineffective. You will wonder, where did you keep the preparation you made for this ad? Well, maybe that's why he's not. And these fillets, can they be stored in the refrigerator at room temperature? Box fillets are packed at room temperature. Opened, then in the fridge. The longer it is kept in fitness, the less effective it is. Yes, and the longer it's stored diluted, the less effective it is too. The more you dilute it, the less effective it will be too. They sell those containers here, don't they? Do you want to buy here? I wanted to buy here, yes, you did. I won't have time to buy it there, I ordered it from other girls. We have 50 units. It's a vestibule, as it's called. It's the same one. Well, anyway, 50, yeah, you can have 52. Well, we'll be already then. Here we are, I say, Botox polish, and you then in half as much already will be under yourself to put under 50. Once again, a question. The price to the customer should be twice the cost of production. 2 or 3 times as much. So it's worth 3 times as much. Why? Well, you, for example, a unit of Botox with 100 rubles costs, and for the client it is 300. Next, we're going to work on spritzes in the zones. So you and I have Botox, forehead, interbrows, hound's feet. 3 zones. There are 3 of you. That's the way we're going to work. We'll put a person down, we'll all ask allergic reactions, what did, what didn't, what helped, what didn't. And then we'll mark on it, put dots on it, which zone, how many units. You'll take turns. Like you start, you put it up, you stand next to it with your tablet, and you duplicate it in the picture. You draw a face and Lena says here I'll put 3, here I'll put 3, here I'll put 1, you put 1 in the picture. You duplicate all that with the key. Next, when you've duplicated everything in your picture, you have to count how much is on your forehead. And write the final number here, circle it. Next, into brows, we'll call it. You talk, you write it down. You put dots on a client, you put dots on a piece of paper. All set, next to the numbers is how much. Circle the totals. Eyes. Also counted. You draw, you duplicate here how many totals you've counted. You have 3 numbers in the circle. 1 for the forehead, 1 for the gaps, 1 for the eyes. These 3 numbers here, these will be your 3 syringes. There are 3 of you. Share what's in pieces. Someone's forehead, someone's eyebrows, someone's eyes. On the next model you'll be changing everything so you'll have all the zones to try. Here you are divided, for example, you have your forehead, you have your interbrows, you have your eyes. All of them. Everyone takes one syringe, develops it. Develops, 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 develops well, develops. Isles himself looks at his area, for example, forehead, you need 10 units. Got ourselves 10 units, that's it, syringe, cap, stand, hold. Here you go. When your father comes, we're not going to put him anywhere, we're not going to take him. Only you can, if you absolutely have to, put it on the tray, but remember it's yours. So they don't get confused. You dialed under your zone. There how many? 15, for example, dialed, all, we stand, waiting. What's safer to draw on a person that when you're standing there and know, something didn't skid something? Well, makeup pencil. Cosmetic pencil, I think, right, yes. I was still thinking about it at night, what would I have forgotten to ask? Cosmetic, any kind, you can even use the cosmetic ones that are in these stores. It's not fundamental. But the most important thing is that you erase the dot before the injection. Still, you have to wash it so it doesn't get into the bloodstream. Yeah, we'll do laundry, then we'll get right to it. Got a syringe each for ourselves and are slowly starting to make some. So, look, you and I will divvy up a little more than usual. Because we have training. And we, the accident, don't need customization. I'll make you a stockpile. So that you would be calm, I would be calm, and the models would be calm that everything went well. Here you go. But you shouldn't count on that reserve. You have to represent that you have everything by the book. So, when you do, you push. Remember the Porsche we practiced in yesterday, handle, take your time again. When you have a syringe in your hand, you're over the client, the whole world shuts down, time stops, and you work in your own teep. You need to squeeze if it yields. If you both have an eye that doesn't lend itself, then just, yeah, angle. Alright, you're in, you're waiting for my signals. Good. And we're gonna start pushing. We're looking at the piston. Next, if you happen to have more out. You wanted to make 1 eye, but you made 3. You don't have to do that. You don't have to do like you did yesterday with Angelina Georgie. Ben was pressed to tears. You must have a stone face. If you have something wrong, you have to find me with your eyes and ask me with your eyes. All of you, keep quiet so we don't scare our people. Because when she has a panic attack, you will have a panic attack, and things will go into a panic state. So you keep your cool. If something feels underwhelming, God bless it, we're in training. If a little more lead, God forbid, we're in training. But you should strive to have everything smooth and clear. That's what we're here for. But you're learning. So all sorts of things happen. Goosefoot, popular. Goosefoot, popular. You can. But learn how to work the right way. Then you'll do as you please, heel to toe. And I'm teaching you right, yes. They built it carefully. You have to, if you hold it with a pen, and oops, that's it. Like I have, to insert like this so you don't have to put pressure on the piston when you're inserting it. What is so invested for? Because your skin will be tight. You won't be able to type like that. That's what you need. Next, if you do the work and you see what you have left over, you're done and you have a drug left over. Don't be loud about it, because the model doesn't need to know that. As for your future client, if you have this happen that there is drug left in the syringe, but make conclusions, it means that somewhere did not finish the injection. And they didn't finish anything. That's why we have 3 syringes, so we can work on one area. Okay, that's it, we're done here, we've made our conclusions. So, we take the next new syringe and try a new way to make sure we have everything. The next new one, we're trying to keep it clean. If it stays, don't say anything to anyone, you can just show behind our backs, right? And put it down, yes. Because if you work with a client, you suddenly have a case, you're already on the drug. Well, you kind of spend it. It's work material that may or may not stay. A person has to pay for it. Somebody's got to pay for it, right? The client who comes in. So if you say, oh, you've got some left over, there's more here for us to do, throw it out, don't throw it out, maybe someone else to finish it off. But this one here, don't do that. These conversations. Left behind, silently thrown out, and that's it. And we take the money as it counts. We did the math. Calculated, the person was immediately told, here you will have 3,000 rubles. He says, and I only took 2,500. And I don't have any more money in my life at all. And nobody can put me on a card right now. And shorter, 2,500. He says, okay, fine. Then let's make it 2 instead of 3. There are 2 here, too. You can remove this point, and you can tweak to it at this point. You always count to the max. She says, how much will it cost? Let's do the math. We drew everything, we counted everything, we showed her. Here's what I think you should do. Does she have any money? No money, that's not your problem. You did your job. It's all drawn, it's all counted, it's all right. If he doesn't have the money, we solve the problem together. If there is, fine, do the procedure. Any questions? Usually, the training itself is arrived at precisely for the purpose of deciding on units. After other trainings, people have a void. Somehow in my head they arrive, I don't know how to dot, I don't know how many units. So here's a gathering to learn how to put dots and determine how many units to what point. Here you go. That's what we're doing here today. The second question that comes up for those who have taken the training. How do you breed? How to dilute, and I don't have those syringes, and I don't have those syringes, and I don't have those syringes. That's the second difficult question, which if you don't understand something today, we better discuss today. And if you come to your town and you have different syringes and you're confused about how to work with them, do your own research first. Remember, I would say, a little bit to turn it on, tweak it, make an analogy, and email me. Here I have these syringes. What do you think? Usually you have a U40 or U100. Here, 50 more to call. Let's write this difference down so you understand it accurately. U50, U100, U40. These are the basic insulin syringes that are sold in pharmacies. Artem brought me some syringes for training once. No insulin issues. But they're so insulin. Well, there's Let me bring them over here so you don't have to say that. All right, what do we got? U50, U100, U40. Here it is. 100, that's what it says here, a number. Yeah. Here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I turn it just like that a little bit and see, 1 milliliter. This syringe U100 per 1 milliliter. Write it down, U100 per 1 milliliter. Further, in 40. You're going to have different divisions, you're going to have different numbers right here, and you're going to end up with it saying 40. But when you write here instead of 100 it will say 40. But when you turn it this way, there's 1 milliliter here too. So you realize that you have 1 milliliter in both that syringe and this syringe, only you have different divisions. Therefore, in order to properly dilute a drug, Botox, for example, 100 we agreed that we take it as a benchmark today. In order to dilute it properly, you first need to understand what syringes you will be working with. These 100 or 40. What kind you have at the drugstore. Here's first, buy syringes and see which ones you're going to work with. If you bought 100, like today we bought 100 with you, that means we Botox 100 units, Botox 100 units. We dilute 100 units with 2 milliliters of saline. That's under 100. Did I spell that wrong? In order to work with the U100 syringes, you will need to dilute 100 units of Botox in a vial with 2 milliliters of Mesotherapy. What are we scouting like this for? Next. That's what you wrote in this column, right? Number 100 ... We wrote that we dilute with 2 milliliters of saline. Next. Draw an arrow. What did we do that for? In order to have 1 unit in 1 division. If we dilute ready-to-work syringes U100, here they're lying, diluted with 2 milliliters, a can of Botox 100 units. Botox 100 units diluted with 2 milliliters. And then we will be able to take from this jar, to fill these syringes, so with the calculation that 1 unit is 1 division. 1 division means from 1 black line to another black line. 1 division. 1 unit equals. There's no way to explain it in more detail. Can I see it? You mean the little black one? Yes, from 1 small black one to another. Don't look at the numbers. We're only looking at the division. We have it, you see this console. She stuck to her guns. That's it. 1, 2, 3. You understand? That's it. Don't look at the numbers. Just for divisions. Next. If we're working at 40. You don't have any other spreads. Only at 40. Then we'll dilute 2.5 milliliters of saline into a can of Botox 100 units. And there's your assignment. There are also 0.5 milliliter U50 syringes. That's the only syringes you have at the drugstore. U50 per 0.5 milliliters. How will you breed? How many units are in the division form with these syringes? How much will you put in a jar? 0.5 units, huh? Turned on a little bit again. You need to get this. 1 division, 1 unit. You need to get this one so that you can work calmly and dial 1 division, 1 unit, into the syringe. These are the only syringes you have, not anymore. And you need to be comfortable counting. If you take 2 of these syringes and put them next to one of these, it's the same thing. 2 like this and 1 like this. That's one thing. So, how much do we breed? 4. 1 and the same. If it's the same thing, why 4? 2. So we dilute the same way with 2 milliliters. We're diluting 100 units of Botox. We'll mark up 100 units of Botox. Unit. We have a can of Botox 100. Do you remember? Not 50, but 100 jars. It's not the can, it's the syringe. Yes, the issue is the syringe. Because they are, you see, with different divisions. And these are the 2 milliliter syringes. Yeah, it's the same. So we're dialing 2 milliliters. Just like here. Because 2 of these syringes are just like this one. But it will be the same thing. No, then 4 milliliter syringe can be added now. If you put them together. No, it's not the syringe. Oh, it's not the jar. You are left with exactly the same number of units in the jar as you had. Your syringe is smaller. For you too, well, to make the suppression fit. In short, you'll have, let's say, not 100 units, but 50 units in that syringe. And you're diluting it because it's exactly the same. That's even 2 logical connections. This has nothing to do with the cans, everything to do with the syringe. In fact, you have an established new unit that needs to be divested. This has nothing to do with the syringe. I can't connect the 2. There's another challenge. That one's taken care of. Next problem. We have Botox 200 with us today. What are we going to call him? Botox and Botox are the same thing. Units also. So Botox can be replaced with the word Botox 200. Well, there's no such thing, but it's possible to substitute Botox 200. So we have considered if we have Bot 200, then how much will 100 breed? Four, and here. 5 dot dot. That's right. So we're just doubling up. And we drive twice as much. No. So there's a bigger water unit in there, right? A large number of people. The number of medications is greater. It was 100 units there and 200 units here. I mean, more ones. So we're just multiplying this figure here, where we're about 100, yeah, just multiplying it by a factor of 2. I really want to find sports. Now. See, we have 102 milliliters, 42.5 years a syringe, and today we have 100 as we work. So you told me to dilute 4 milliliters from the solution because we have no for every. Anyway, I'm not going to spell it out for you right now. Just saying, we'll add another milliliter of spare. So you'll have a total of 5 milliliters. We're about to breathe the can here. Just so you understand, right? That we have 4 as we should, and 1 as a spare. It's the only place that taught me. You don't do that at home. 1 will be a spare. So how do we dilute the drug? You and I are going to open this jar, this lid right here. Let's wipe the rubber peg with chlorhexidine. Let's take a long needle from an ordinary syringe. We'll pierce the can so we can squirt it out. We'll pierce it. You'll hear the clapping. The air's out. I've had it. Bravely. You can use the syringe that you've opened now, the 5 milliliter syringe that has the large syringes, to draw saline into it for injection dilution. Saline is unusual because there are different ones at the pharmacy. There's a regular one for injection. We took 5 milliliters because we agreed that today we would dilute 5 milliliters. And very slowly, carefully. You and I inject the drug while moving the jar so that the water goes through all the walls and collects all this dust. You'll see the jar, it's empty. There's a drug-like frost settling on the walls. So we introduce it carefully, like this, with rotating movements, so that there is no such thing as a fountain, yes, bubbling. It ruins the structure of the drug. They treat it very carefully, bring it in the refrigerator, slowly move it around, so that all these botulinum toxins are preserved as much as possible. Injected neatly, slowly turned, all this jar neatly so left. On breathing. It's all clear here what needles and spitzes to buy. I'm into media bioelectrification. Mesotherapy and bioelectricity. Yeah, bioelectrification. Well, now.